This is always the most difficult moment. We've come to the round table session. Shake me some too. So top three, you're going to have to go backstage. But before then, you can see something on the screen. So just to let you know, when you come back on stage when I call your name, you will take a seat with the judges, and you'll be given a category of 4 to choose from, out of which each carries a very important question. Just so you know, and that we're an equal playing field, the struggle will be questions about navigating the challenges of entrepreneurship. Aha moment will be questions around insights that you've learned. Secret sauce will be around your competitive edge, innovation, and impact. And back to the future will be questions around your long-term vision and your goals. Once you understand that, you can go backstage and you can get mic'd. Please go backstage. Wow, 3 strong men. I-Man, please join us. Woo! I-Man, the first thing you're going to do is I'm going to question and ask you which of the categories that you choose. When you choose that category, I will give this piece of paper to Diane, whom I'll give the honor of asking the question, not yet Diane. And then the audience will also ask a question or choose a category, and you have to answer the question in that category, after which the judges will interact with you. I'm going to beg the judges to give you some 2 minutes perhaps towards the end of your 15 minutes to ask them a question. So are we clear?
Yes, sure.
Everybody's calm? All right. So I-Man, you've got the struggle, aha moment, secret sauce, or back to the future.
I would pick the struggle.
The struggle? Dan, do us the honors.
The struggle. So the question is, what is the biggest mistake you made? How did you recover from it?
What is the biggest mistake you've made, and how did you recover from it?
Okay, so I won't consider it a mistake, but any mistake is associated with learning. So life, it's all about successive mistakes, successive learnings, and you learn from them. Maybe one of my biggest mistakes, is it associated with sprints or in general? I mean, the question is the scope.
With your business.
With my business, okay. So maybe biggest mistake was to, in all my life, I believed in myself. I mean, I was the child who believed that you have superpowers and the system is backing me up. And in all my life, I tried to do things relying on my own power, own energy. I have the resilience to try till I make it. Then I would say when I started sprints, I believe that the CEO and founder is one of the hardest jobs ever, the most lonely jobs ever. I started actually seeking for a co-founder to share the journey with. And first, I would say mistake that I started without having the co-founder in place. Why? I would say that in shaping and the idea at the beginning, you need to consult more. Also, first iterations was also believing that we are going to do something amazing. So also starting without enough partnerships. So I would say that biggest mistake that to rely only on yourself. However, your power is through partnerships and networks, and you can do amazing things through these partnerships.
Okay.
And this is what we are trying to do now. I mean, we have more than 400 partners in sprints where we can really do, yes, you can succeed alone, but your impact will be small. But with the right partnership, you will be more resilient, you will be more connected, and actually part of it, why I'm here in ABH, because the power of network, the power of people, and the power, you tell your story, people may get on board, may believe, so you become the power of all who heard your story. So for me, I would say my mistake that I didn't partner from day one, and to rely on the strong of collaboration and partnership. Don't rely on your own sole power, because your power is finite.
Okay. I'm going to humbly ask Joe, the audience chose Back to the Future. Please do us the honors of asking that question. And Ayman, don't forget you are on a timer.
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, Ayman, how much additional dilution will you be willing to take to make your company successful?
Okay, so for me, it's about the impact. So actually, as I mentioned, I had two other startups before Sprints. And when I started Sprints, actually, the question was what I want to do till end of my life. This was the reflection that after exiting my second startup, I wanted to say what to do. And for me was helping people. And I do believe that helping people has to come from education and employment. By this, you are a valuable person to your community, to your country. So the challenge that I have, that when, could you please,
Yeah.
so
just
I want to connect the dot. Yeah.
Yeah, how much dilution
Yeah,
will you so you will have to raise new capital,
Sorry
right?
for this, yeah. So to answer your question, I thought to have it NGO. So again, nothing for me. And actually this is what, to reflect on partnership. It's better to create something big instead something small that you own it all. So actually, actually I pitched from day one Sprints, and I had the first investor on board from day one. We just closed a second round, seed round, I mean, a couple of weeks ago. So I mean, we are willing to get diluted as long as this will push us forward. Another thing to answer this, actually we are profitable. We can operate without any kind of investment, but the pace that we go, we would be afraid of competitors, people other can jump, so we have to move as fast as possible as our capacity and capability could do. But again, having partners, and for me, investors is network, and they help us a lot. Actually, angel investors is also great. They have a huge network, and they buy the story. So again, I'm willing to dilute as much as possible, as long as this achieve the impact that we want to do.
But you have to give us a number. Now the founders own 55%.
Yeah.
How much are you willing to? Are you willing to go down to 10%, to 2%?
Yeah, I can go, till 5%. I mean, if it's an amazing story, sure, of course, why not? Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Judges, you may now interact.
Okay. I'll tell you one of your weaknesses.
Sure.
Okay. I think you're very passionate about what you do, but I think you need to work on communicating it. Because when he asked a question, the answer could have been in 30 seconds.
Exactly, yeah.
All right? But it took like 2-3 minutes. That's time, valuable, burnt, going around to deliver it. Okay? You lose investors in the first 1 minute. You either articulate it or you don't. If you don't, they get distracted to something else. So you need to consciously work on how do I get my point, lay it on the table, and move on. You get that?
Sure. Totally agree.
Thank you.
So we all believe that this business has the potential to have massive impact across the continent. But it was still not clear to us, how do you handle competition? We run companies, and I think the first name that comes to mind would be the likes of LinkedIn or Udemy. These offer, online courses. But again, I understand that yours is very specific, focused on tech talent. If you were to pitch your business to me, what would you say? I run a bank. Okay,
so actually LinkedIn and Udemy are doing a great job. And Coursera and EDX, a lot of edtech actually is helping a lot. The problem with these platforms, with total respect, I consider it is for the student. I mean, actually some platforms, without mentioning name, it's done by, again, professors in the university. So actually they design the system based on their persona. It's too hard to stay on a platform learning alone for 3 months to get employed. It's almost impossible. Nobody can actually, people on Google would be 0.5%. But actually people like working together to achieve something. And this is what we are doing. We are giving the platform where people can work together as a team and achieving milestones. From day one, for example, our automation and robotics part. From day one, they have a robot that is working. We ship them the robot, they connect it, and they have the sense of achievement, okay? Second week, make it more advanced. Third week, and so on. Same for mobile apps, same for AI, and so on. So the power of community, the power of team, and the power of competition. Teams see each other on the dashboard, see how they are competing. They know that the employers will see this. They will see their projects. They will see all the data points that we collect. It's relevant. It's relevant. Nobody is doing this. For example, let's take LinkedIn. You just see nothing verified, nothing certified, no data points, just what you say on yourself. So I'll say amazing things. But what if these things are verified? What if you can have 30 or 40 data points that an employer can tweak and search on it? Best problem solvers in Egypt, I want them. Best givers, because it's an NGO and tech, I want them. Best storytellers, and so on. So this is the power that we do, that first we start with what employers want. We are the first, I mean, I would say, there are few, but assessment-based. What employer wants, what you want, what is the gap. This is the journey that's customized. You work with a team, you deliver and feel the value on a weekly basis. Every week there's a delivery. You see the progress across everything, and you know that the employers, if you're good, they will find you immediately. So this is the secret sauce that we have. A lot of AI technology inside, because at least 70% of our company are geeks, and this is a problem regarding communication, that we are geeks at the end. So this is why we are digitizing everything from day one. Actually, before even the AI, the narration, some courses of that, it's automatically narrated. You say, you put the silence, you put the stress on the word, so the course itself is auto-generated. And this answers the question how fast we can generate courses. We can generate it very, very fast. So again, it's a critical competition, but again, being connected to employers is crucial. And again, welcome to any player. Actually, we can partner with. Actually, LinkedIn we partner with, Amazon we partner with, Google we partner with. So again, it's a massive problem, and why not to partner? Again, my job is to make you the fastest way as a learner, the fastest way to get employed. So whatever I can partner with, it's okay. And let's share the revenue if there is, or the value. So I don't have a problem with this again. For me, it's a platform, accessing all data points, shortest path to employment. Welcome to any player that can plug and play. For example, English courses, training academies can plug, because one of the reasons is the English as well. So we can allocate partners so that we can be as fast as possible.
You have a question? Maybe we ask Ayman to ask questions that you want from us.
Sure. Okay, so maybe a key advice regarding my business, okay? I know that I'm working in a very competitive landscape. Investors actually like other maybe sectors more. So my question would be, how can we make something that can really impact youth? And based on what I explained, what are the tips that I can go and immediately apply?
Do you want to answer?
You said one point, but I would be happy if I hear another point. Yeah.
No, I mean, if you're talking about what will affect the youth, I think it's to think of the sheer population of the young people, to think of the area of the greatest demand in the tech space, and to think of the sector that has scalability and growth, which means they can learn in models and continue to improve themselves no matter who they are. And if you can put it in models that they can qualify at a stage, get a job, but still be able to get to the next stage and the next stage and the next stage, you will help young people, especially young people from poor homes. If they can do one part and get a job, then they can use that to train themselves to do higher levels and move from level to level.
I see. Thank you.
I think you should use the fact that you're sitting here, you're one of the top 3 of ABH, and market the hell out of it to the youth on social media, to whatever.
True.
And make yourselves known, make your services known to people, because at the end of the day, you need to reach those potential learners in order to get them on board.
Sure. Thank you, thank you.
I think as a founder and CEO, you have a lot of work to do with your team and get your team grounded. Already, being one of the top 3 of ABH 2023 is going to be a big thing. So how do you keep them grounded and focused still on growth and reaching your targets, which are ambitious, thousands of African learners. So you need really to work on your team and keep them focused and grounded. I think that's very important.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I think taking from what Joe said, the marketing, use young people, the kind of young people that you want to attract to the program. It's about making tech sexy, so to speak, in a way that they want to engage in it, and let them talk about the income level, the opportunities, and all of those things that will happen.
I see. Especially for female and women. For instance, back to your point, actually, without intentionally, I had a lot of people asking me about sprints, because there were some talks regarding sprints, and they were very interested. I was really surprised but again, one of the challenges is how to get women into tech. I don't know, is it the media, like the cybersecurity guy is always the guy, I don't know why, but actually we have some campaigns to encourage women to jump in tech. Also, you mentioned AI and ChatGPT. Actually, we have programs for non-techies, and this is something I would like to build on what you're saying. So everybody, you don't need to be a techie to learn technology. Actually, everybody needs to learn technology, and you can use the power of automation and AI in every job. And by this, you create a defensible future, and really you have superpowers. So actually, we have a program that anybody can join. It's actually AI for everybody from any background, and you can apply the AI tools inside your daily job.
Okay. So if you have a program that's called Non-Techies Can Learn AI Too.
Yeah.
I think that'll be very popular.
Yeah. Actually, we had tech for non-techies. This is before AI.
Okay.
We will show it like that.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Ayman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And Ayman, you will now leave the round table. I know you want to stay, but you will now leave the round table, and well done. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll now bring our next in our top 5. Meanwhile, I'll ask just Ivy to get one person from the audience ready to pick one of the categories. Get them ready for us. And we will call on Dr. Neto of Wella Health Technologies. Dr. Neto, you know where to go?
Yes, I do.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So you have an option of one of the categories that you can see. You will pick one, and the judges will ask the question corresponding to that one. And then the audience will also give you a category, and the judges will ask you a question corresponding to that category as well, after which you have some time with the judges to deliberate. I do advise that you save the last 3 minutes or so to ask the judges a question, if you like. All right, so Dr. Neto, you've got the struggle, aha moment, secret sauce, back to the future. Which category will it be, please?
The struggle.
The struggle? If I may ask Madame Ibukun to do us the honors. Thank you very much.
Entrepreneurs and struggles.
It's second nature.
Yeah. What is the hardest decision you had to make to protect the integrity of your company?
That's a great question. I would say that doing business in Africa comes with its challenges, and you do have difficult moments around integrity. I can think of one instance in particular where we sold into a business. You know, we'd given them, you know, healthcare plans for their agents. And my team told me about the deal subsequently, and it turned out that you know, one of our people had gone to kind of provide a kickback that I wasn't aware of at the time. And it helped us close the deal, but it really wasn't the way I wanted to do business, and I really struggled with it. And, you know, got the team together, deliberated, And eventually, we returned to that business and said, listen, we would like to be transparent and say, this is what has happened. And we shared that with them. And it was a difficult thing to do because, that kickback helped us close the business, but being able to be transparent then with that business, with the CEO of that business, I think more so helped our own culture so that we then approach all the things that we do with as much integrity as possible and transparency. So I'd say that was a difficult time for us that we were able to learn lessons from.
What was the end result?
So we shared that with the CEO of that team, and a couple of people that were on that deal are no longer working with those companies.
What happened at the other end, the other company?
Yeah, so I left that with them, and I think they dealt with it internally. Yeah.
All right.
Audience choosing the category, please. Just Ivy. Audience choosing the category, please.
Hello. Good. We have Mohammed from Somalia who is ready with his category.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. So I would choose the aha moment
Aha
because
moment.
I feel like it's the moments we like get insights.
Thank you.
Aha moment. Tell us about your biggest regrets as an entrepreneur.
Tell us about your biggest regret as an entrepreneur.
Wow. The questions aren't easy, yeah? I'd say my biggest regret as an entrepreneur is not making hard decisions faster. And I've learned that over time, that when a decision is obvious and it's hard, that you shouldn't procrastinate. You should make that decision early, suck it up and just do it. And I think there's been a couple of instances where I should have made certain decisions quicker, but because they were hard to do, I just left it. And it became a lot harder. So, I mean, an example would say if hiring somebody that doesn't work out and not firing that person early enough. I like to be empathetic, but I think as an entrepreneur, you can't be too empathetic. You have to be, I guess, empathetic towards the business as a whole. And so making those hard decisions quicker, I think, is one of my bigger regrets.
Judges, you may.
Oh, yes, I fire people straight away now, if I have to, yeah, for instance.
But it's about how.
Absolutely. And I've learned that as well. Yeah.
You may now interact, please, judges.
So to follow up on that, now you've made a decision to fire someone. Describe that process. Was it a long conversation? Did it take 30 seconds or did it take 2 hours? And what did you say to that person?
So I think what I've learned, especially regarding that, is actually it's the lead up to that time. I think I've improved in communicating my expectations a lot better and providing regular feedback such that when the time comes, it's not a surprise. And I'm saying something like, we've had this conversation and I'm sorry that this is not going to work. So it's usually not a long conversation, but it's a very kind of direct, but not harsh, but very direct. And usually the person at that point in time would have been more aware. I think what I didn't realize early on was I wasn't, providing that consistent feedback and clarity in what I expected.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a question.
What keeps you awake at night?
I think the biggest challenge we face in our business is the quality of healthcare that we provide. And as a doctor, I put my name behind it all the time. And so I always worry that somebody somewhere is not going to get the kind of healthcare that I would personally give, because every single time I try to give the best kind of care that I can. But I recognize that working with thousands of other healthcare providers is not always the same. So my worst nightmare is getting a call at some time saying something that somebody did on our accounts didn't go so well. So that's why we have a number of checks and balances. I'm always on my team's neck to ensure that they have the quality controls in place, and we have a great team that are always working on it. So that is what keeps me up at night.
Has it ever happened
No, is the short answer, touch wood. We've had one or two instances where we've had to refer people on, but like I said, my team are very proactive and are very clear in shunting people down where they need to go to. So if you don't fit our pathway, again, big on algorithms and systems, if you don't fit our pathway, we're very quick to say you need to go somewhere else faster. So far, it's not been a problem. But I recognize that, 0.1% is, that's big if you're dealing with millions of people.
How many times have you thought about abandoning everything and going back?
Every single day.
And what has kept you from not making that move?
So I lie not every single day. I mean, I feel like this is a calling for me, and so I'm in it for the long haul. And so I feel like this is where I should be. This is what I need to be doing with my life. There are times where it's uncertain, because in medicine it's a very clear path. A lot of my colleagues would be, heads of departments and doing great work. But this is where I am. This is my calling. So I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, fantastic. Are you married?
Yes, and shout out to my family and kids, my wife and kids. They're great support. They allow me. Yes, please, round of applause. They allow me to go out and do so much of these things. I wouldn't be here without them.
Are they with you, and do they move with you back?
Yes, yes. So yeah, they came back to Nigeria, were with me, struggled for a little bit, and so yeah, they're there and giving me the support.
How do you communicate your vision to your stakeholders?
I think I live it, A lot of times, I think people are very inauthentic in the way they do things. But I try to live it, in saying that if we're going to be serving, say, low-income people, for instance, I'm out on the streets, I'm wearing my T-shirt and jeans. I've not worn a tie in 6 years. This is my first time in 6 years wearing a tie, when I used to wear it every day. But I live it, and people see it and see that authenticity. That I really believe that every single African, no matter how rich or poor you are, needs access to great healthcare. And the only way to deliver it is to be in the streets with them to understand what they're going through. And I think that shines through when I speak to people and try to get them on board. So that's what I do.
Who do you consider your biggest stakeholder?
That's a great question, because there's a lot of moving parts. And I think that's the challenge with healthcare, is we have so many stakeholders that are almost equally important. But I come from the school of thought that the most important person is the patient sitting in front of you as a doctor. And so I've taken that philosophy into the business to say, the most important person is that customer that is accessing a healthcare plan, that wants, good access to healthcare. So we always optimize for them.
List your stakeholders. I'm going somewhere, so.
Yes. So of course the end user, right? And then we have the insurance companies we work with. We have the healthcare providers, so the pharmacies. We have associations. We have partnerships, for instance, with the Association of Community Pharmacists. We have the government as well. Of course, we have the government relationships team. We have the distribution partners, so financial institutions, mobile network operators, etc.
I'll now explain to you why I asked. Now, everyone you've listed is important. They're critical stakeholders. But as an entrepreneur, one of the biggest stakeholders you will ever have that will ensure that you do not run back and you stay with the race is your wife and your children.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't have that as a mindset and take it into your decision-making process in considering your options, we get, as entrepreneurs, we get so absorbed with our enterprise, our dreams, our vision, that critical component of our life, which makes it possible to succeed, we leave it behind. And usually the problems come to roost later. So the next time you list your stakeholders, remember to start from there.
Absolutely.
Because that's the place you go home to every night.
Yes.
Time for you to ask us questions.
So that was what I was going to ask, as a matter of fact, is how do you manage that work-life balance of, keeping a family and also trying to run a great business? How have you done it?
Well, I'm still work in progress. It's not easy, and I learn every day. And what I do, I try to delegate as much as possible and focus on the main things that work. And I also have to delegate at home, because I can't do everything. But I think I agree with Ibukun. having the right partner really is the most important support you can get. Because if he or she is not supportive, then everything else crumbles. So I think, marrying the right person is the secret sauce.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't think, if you ask me to draw a pie and put a line through the pie and say this part is work, this part is life, I can't do it. Work is part of life, life is part of work. At Alibaba, we have a saying, work happily and live seriously. So think about it, work happily and live seriously, which means at work, you have to go to work every day, looking forward to it. You're going to enjoy the work, enjoy your mission, enjoy your colleagues going to work. But when you live, when you're at home with your wife and children, I know you're an entrepreneur, you don't have a lot of time, but think of every moment as something that is precious. So you should treasure it, right? And you should spend quality time. Rather than the quantity amount of time, the quality time with family is very important.
Thank you.
So for me, it's really that at the end of the day, I want all the different parts of my life to work. I do not want to give up on my dreams, my ambition, and my drive, but I also want to win as a wife to my husband and as a mother to my children. So I was talking to Diane during the break, and we talked about the equity system. How do I gain equity with each side of it? I show up for the critical moments for each one. And I gain equity which I will spend when I need it. And the moment to spend it is when one thing. So when people talk balance, I always say, I don't know what balance means. I just know what is most important on each day. If my child is the most important thing today, everything else will wait. And if work is the most important thing today, my child will understand because I have equity for showing up. And if my husband is the most important, children and business will wait. So what I've also learned is how to be intentional about managing it, which means you diarize the things that are key in your life, including your family holidays, husband time, children time, and friendship times, relationships in your life that also matter. So find a way to sort of put them as part of your structure. And you would realize that the things you structure into your life, it makes it easier for them to work and help you. And at that moment, make it the important thing.
Thank you so much.
It's important. Do take family holidays.
Yes.
Just the family, yourselves, no distractions. I think you have to do that at least once a year.
Okay. I've built up a few, then I need to do.
Family holiday, then husband and wife holiday.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Neto, you've got 18 seconds. You want to say something else?
Thank you to everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks to the judges. It's been a great experience, and it's been a long road leaving medicine to do this, and it's satisfying, I'd say, to see that people actually love what we do. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Neto, Wella Health Technologies. Thank you so much. All right. And our third in our top three is none other than Pula Advisors, Thomas and Jero. Thomas, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Please take a seat at the dining table of the great judges. And Just Ivy, please get that audience member ready to pick the category.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, my sister, wherever you are. I can't see you. There you are. So Thomas, this is how it works. There are 4 categories. You pick a category, and the judge will ask the question corresponding to that category. The second round, someone from the audience will pick a category for you, and again, the judges will ask you a question corresponding to that category, after which you have your discussion with the judges, but I advise that you save a little bit of time at the end, 3 to 4 minutes, to ask them a question and absorb a few life lessons, okay? So, to start, which of these would you pick?
I'll go with the struggle.
The struggle. Okay, so we're back to you, Diane, with the struggle.
entrepreneurs with struggles. I think it's a love story, right?
Yeah, it is.
So Thomas, tell us about a major crisis you had to manage the company through.
So, just a bit of context. Before I joined the company fully, it was a side hustle. In Africa, so I had a job at Deloitte. I was a director at Deloitte. And then, so we realized we had to do fundraising because based on what we had done, we did the fundraise. And then now the investors insisted that I have to quit my full-time job. They could see the importance of the mission, but they couldn't finance a part-time thing.
Yeah.
In Africa, there's something we call black tax, right? So you're supporting many people, and then having come from the village, from the struggle, you've gone through your career for 7 years. Everyone in the village is proud of you and, the job you hold in the society. And now making a decision to walk away from that. And I knew if indeed I did not take the decision, that would have been probably the end of the mission, right, or the company. I'd been, before that, 7 years, I've been doing a couple of things on agriculture insurance. But as a, how do I put it? I never thought of it initially as a business. It was something that made me happy, like your service to mankind. And then I thought these other things, car insurance, this other thing is what will be your, bread, so to speak, And then here you are, then you're at a pivotal moment, you have to make a decision whether to move into entrepreneurship as a full-time thing. And in Africa, entrepreneurship is viewed as something you do when you have nothing else, more often than not. So leaving your, a big corporate job with a nice corner office and a big car to go into now starting from scratch. It was the biggest crisis, personal as well as the company, that took a period of a whole month and a lot of, within my social circles, my family, within the business, I always remember getting to the decision to just walk away from all that I've been building for many years. Because, I don't think you need to be an entrepreneur. You don't need to be, all the things are done to be an entrepreneur. So I still consider that as the biggest crisis from a personal perspective, but also the company, because it was going through a lot of challenges. I thought we would be able to bootstrap without necessarily raising money. That was the idea. We had done it for about 2 years, but then at some point, it was very critical. It got to a point where, you needed funding to just survive. Yeah.
All right. Audience, choose a category, please. Ivy.
We have Kareem from Rwanda who picks.
Secret sauce.
Secret sauce. Okay. Joe, could you kindly do us the honors of asking the question under secret sauce?
Okay, Thomas. Tell us about your AI advantage. AI means African insight, innovation, and impact. All right. What's your advantage in insight, innovation, impact?
Okay. So the advantage you have, so let's start with, from an innovation perspective, is the fact that, to deliver the kind of product we have, you need years of data, right? And in agriculture, you only have 1 or 2 shots, right? Depending on which country, right? So effectively, you can only collect data once or twice a year. We already have the 7-year advantage. We have the largest yield database because insurance is very data heavy. Just fundamentally, it's statistics, right? Probability of death, probability of disaster. So we have the advantage that we have the data required to design the product, and every year we keep collecting more data. So it's a self-feeding cycle whereby we go to the field, collect the data, we use that to determine the payouts or how we pay the farmers. But then in addition to that, that data goes to inform our product in the next cycle. So every year we keep becoming better. So that's the advantage from an innovation perspective. But from an impact perspective, I would say is the fact that I always say none of the big economies in the world has ever gotten where it is without fixing agriculture, right? I mean, 50% of people are in agriculture. You'll be surprised, over 50% of world's arable land is on the continent, but we produce less than 5% of the food, right? So we are talking about a very underutilized sector. So I'm in agriculture, and I see how insurance can bring that predictability, stability, to attracting or crowding investors into the sector and create jobs. It's just a ripple effect. Because once you have, so you fix your agriculture, what happens is, so suddenly you have, the 50% of the people employed in agriculture have incomes. And suddenly you have to do a bit of agri-processing, agri-businesses, and that's how industrialization goes. So it's always starts with the agrarian revolution. And if you think about it, also from a historical context perspective, so the agrarian revolution in Europe was mechanization. Then the next one was actually inputs, so better seed and fertilizer. I strongly believe the next agrarian revolution in Africa will be driven by technology, creating information symmetry, and also in a big way creating that predictability. Because with the advent of climate change, so we are at the center from an impact perspective in actually catalyzing the next agrarian revolution on the continent. That's from an impact perspective. That's how I see it. Yeah.
Judges, you're free to interact.
So I was just looking at some of the materials about your company. This is actually a reverse question from the first entrepreneur when we asked him about how much dilution he's willing to take. But your company, because it's been around for several years, since 2015, actually the founders actually do not own the majority of the company. Your investors own the majority of the company. So my question to you is, how do you feel about it? Are there ways that maybe you think about, getting a little bit more in terms of more equity in the company through an ESOP? How about your employees?
Okay. So at the moment, 10% of the company is owned by employees. So there's an ESOP that we've already set aside. Yes, so at the moment, if I combine employees and the founders, we're about slightly above 50%.
Okay.
But yeah, as you correctly put it, that's huge dilution, right? But so from where I sit, I think at some point we had to make decisions. So whether we want I want to have 70% of a small business or a small percentage of a big business. And the way I see it is primarily a couple of things. So as long as the investors you bring on board have the same vision, they trust you in terms of the process, so then they let you run what you do what you need to do, right? We have a very, we actually select our investors in many ways. We are lucky enough to actually do that, select our investors. And on many occasions we say no, 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 because, and for us, Pula, values is very important. So we select our investors based on alignment of values. So as long as they let you, and you have, from a control perspective, right? Shareholder matters, board matters, and you have a way of control in terms of decision making. I have no problem, because at the end of the day, what's more important for us is actually creating that impact at scale. And unfortunately, to do that, it requires capital. Initially, as I said, we thought we can do it without necessarily giving up shareholding. But I think to create the kind of impact we are looking to, expanding to multiple countries, new solutions, new products, then, so the answer is no. I'm comfortable as long as I still feel, from a decision-making perspective, I still have the ability to make decisions which I believe are the right. Of course, your board advises you, you have your shareholders, you have advisors who actually, the way, it's very surprising. We've had several also crises within the business, and I was having a conversation with one of our investors, because I've had horror stories of when there's a problem, the investors come in and start running the business. And I kept asking, how come you never just did that? It's like, I knew you guys will figure it out eventually. So we have their confidence. So they let us actually do what we believe. Because you see, we've been in the business, I mean, I've been probably in this for many years, over a decade, in terms of doing agriculture insurance. So then in that case, then as long as we are serving the mission, and you require capital, say, then I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay. It's 4 minutes. You want us to keep asking you questions, or do you want to ask us questions?
You can go ahead. You can ask.
You don't want to ask us questions?
I can ask towards the last 1 minute.
Really? Just 1 minute.
Okay.
No, it's up to you. It's your game. It's up to you.
Okay, I have one question, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think the main thing I would want just to understand from your perspective, looking back in your mid-30s, assuming you're not mid-30s.
Why not?
So what would you tell someone who is at a point where you're sort of just in the growth phase of a business, right? And this is not just from a business perspective, from a life perspective. Life, because sometimes the problem is, you go through life and you see what I thought is important, then at some point in a couple of years you realize, oh, this is not as important as, yeah, so.
What, you want to know what is important?
Yeah, what would you advise, if you look back, the 35-year-old you, what are the things would you tell an entrepreneur given what you know now?
Well, personally, I always think it's not about looking back. It's about enjoying. Like people ask you, what would you change in your journey? I always say nothing, because every part of it added to who I am today. But what I would say to you is, spend a bit of time with yourself to articulate what is your 70-year-old, 80-year-old vision. If you have a sense of how you want to end, in terms of, if this is the book of my life today, and I'm 80 and I'm reading it, whatever the number is, what do I want to read in it? And that should be in terms of my values, in terms of my life achievements, in terms of the things I consider important to me. And then measure where I am today and ask myself, what is the gaps analysis? What's it showing up? What decisions do I need to make? What changes do I need to make in my life in order to make myself able to arrive at my destination? Always building flexibility into it. In doing that, there's one thing I consider very important, ranking the order of priority in my life. When I rank the order of priority in my life, it helps me with making decisions every time I'm at a crossroad.
Thank you.
Yeah, my advice is, like right now, you're 37 years old, right? Yeah. You spend time, work on your human relationships. Business-wise, don't burn any bridges, because it'll come back to bite you. And from personal life standpoint, obviously family is very, very important. You don't want your family to abandon you when you become very, very successful, and but then you've lost your family, right? Also friends too. I think the friends you make now and 10 years ago, that period of time, are going to be friends for life, because they knew you before you've become big. But when 20 years from now, if your business becomes very successful, you don't have any problem with making friends. But it's always going to be the friends that you knew from 30 years ago that's going to stick with you, and those are the most important.
I think, they've said it all. You have to take good care of your support system.
Okay.
Because without your support system, everything becomes irrelevant. So it's really, really important to get your priority right. And sometimes, you can be blinded, maybe by success, maybe by other things, but your support system is the foundation. This is who you are, and you don't want to be successful and have no one around you to celebrate with. So it's very important.
Well, Thomas, you've had your moment with the judges, and I'm going to say thank you very much as you exit the round table. And judges, I'm going to respectfully ask that you also go and deliberate for the major, grand moment we've been waiting for the last 9 months. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our judges as they go away to do the very last but most important aspect of it. Thomas, you may go. You may go. And ladies and gentlemen, you have 10 minutes to interact with each other, 10 minutes to stretch. Our judges will step out of the hall. And when we come back, we are coming back with the award ceremony, when we find out who takes home the ABH Hero of the Year and who the runners-up are, and ultimately, the one that carries the crown, so to speak. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Don't go away.